So this sketchbook assignment is titled Collage Creatures, and if you look at your document on Google Classroom, there's lots and lots of examples for you. This is just my interpretation on it. So to create this, there are some materials that you're going to need. The first thing that you need is something to cut with. A scissors and X-Acto work great. If you are doing this from home and you don't have access to either of those things, you can rip your images, but ideally we want something to cut. We want to have some pictures. So again, you can take these photos from, maybe you have printed out pictures at home that you're not using. Maybe you have old magazines, newspapers. Maybe you have some mail that comes to your house that just goes straight to the garbage that has some pictures on it, whatever. Black and white, color, up to you. Just make sure that whatever you are taking from that you ask, and make sure you're not going to get in trouble for cutting something up, okay? And the last thing we want is some sort of adhesive. Now, if you don't have access to a glue stick or Elmer's glue, tape will work really well. If you really don't have access to any of those things while you're at home, you can just arrange your objects really carefully. Be careful not to sneeze or bump them. Maybe take a photo of it and then submit your photo. So to do this, there are really 4 things that we're going to focus on. So the first thing is there has to be at least 10 images, okay? And when you look at my example here, just to count really quickly, I've got the hands as 1, this glass as 2, the eye is 3, mouth 4, earring 5, body 6, bow 7, flower 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I believe I have 14 different images on here, maybe even 1 or 2 that I missed. So we want to have at least 10, and we want them to come from different images. You don't want to just take, some picture and cut it up into 10 pieces and rearrange it. You can have way more than 10. I've had people do this with like hundreds, but 10 is the minimum, okay? The next thing is that we want to create a new image. So you can see the way that I have cut all of these things out, I've sort of changed the way that we think of them. So I've got all these flowers that instead of them just acting as flowers in my new image, I have them acting as the dress. Okay, there's a glass that I just flipped upside down and turned that into her hat. I've got some diamond earrings that I put down here to make it look like they're her shoes. So you're creating a new image by piecing all of these together. That is what collage essentially is, creating something new out of images that already exist. And to go on this, my image is human, so it has an element, there's a person in it. Yours does not have to be. It could be animal, it could be mechanical. It is completely up to you how you interpret this. Maybe instead of doing what I have done here, and I don't have an example to show you right now, but maybe you just take, tons and tons of tiny pieces and create an image. Maybe you cut up a bunch of blue and a bunch of green and make a sky and a forest. Totally up to you, okay? The third thing is we want the pieces to interact with one another. So the best way for me to show this to you is to show you the hands up here. Okay, so within this, I went through and I cut out my background of the hands and I cut out the background of this glass. And so the way that I piece them together, they look like they're interacting. They look like they belong together, okay? We want to make sure that these pieces interact with one another so that it looks like you are creating a new image. Okay? And the last thing is we want to try to cut out the background. Now, if you have limited resources and if you're not able to use a scissors or an X-Acto, you might not be able to do this step. But what I mean by background, and we'll focus on the hands again, is I mean the background of the existing images. So this was from a magazine. I cut out this dude's hand. There was definitely something back here. I have no idea what it was. But I took my time with my scissors and an X-Acto and I cut it out really cleanly around the outside so we don't see any of that old background. Okay, you're going to have to take your time in order to do that. And then that allows these pieces to look like they're interacting together. Okay? And with this, again, you're going to use your creativity just like you do with all of your sketchbook assignments, but make sure that you are following these criteria, the big things, making sure that you're having at least 10 images, you're creating something new, whatever that may be, whatever your interpretation is, that the images are interacting with one another, and that you're trying to cut out the background if you can. All right, have fun with this. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Bye-bye.